of introducing them, because it might tell us something new that we don't already know about them. And I came across this lovely quote. It's very simple, but it says, "Some gifts are big, some gifts are small, but the ones that come from the heart are the best gifts of all." And in many ways, I think that Toastmasters itself is a kind of a gift. And definitely, we get from Toastmasters what we give and what we put in. So, just to get us started, I'm going to ask the different role holders to remind us of what their roles are. And to do that, I'm going to start with our timer, who tonight is Joseph O'Connor. And Joseph told me that the greatest gift that he has got is getting an extra 18 months with his dad after major heart surgery. So, Joseph, can I pass over to you, please, to explain your role?
Thank you, Siobhan. Yep. So my role is tonight as timekeeper, and as timekeeper, I keep you all to time on topics, let's say, at the beginning of the meeting. So I'm going to allow you a limit of 2 minutes per opening topic and only 1 minute for follow-ons. And I don't have a bell, so I will just imitate one and say ding ding. And I'll do that until people get really bored of it. And then after the break, we have two speeches. One is an icebreaker, sorry, breaker. Although it is spelled that way, I suppose. If you're German and you pronounce things phonetically, it will come out that way. But that runs for 4 to 6 minutes. And I will have different backdrops going on to remind our speaker. I see that is Louise, that you will have 4 minutes elapsed when the green light comes on, and 5 minutes when the amber light comes on, and red is time to wrap up at 6 minutes. And then Anna is speaking, and she has already done her icebreaker, so she's on a 5 to 7 minute speech. And the light system starts at 5 minutes, green, amber at 6, and wrap up at 7 minutes. That'll be your red light. And that's me. I will also be timing, sorry, the evaluators and the general evaluator. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Joseph. And next, I'm going to pass over to our grammarian for this evening. Our grammarian, excuse me, is James. And James told me that the greatest gift he received was an acoustic guitar when he was 12 years old. And because of that guitar, he's still playing, not the same guitar, but another one. And he might delight us at some stage, perhaps, with some of his tunes. But for the moment, James, can you explain your role, please?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Yeah, as a grammarian this evening, my job is to pay very close attention to all the speakers and to listen to how language is used, and in particular to pick out some good examples of phrases, quotes, and sayings, etc. I also have to watch out for crutch words, those ums and ahs, and filler words. Just a suggestion on the filler words, try to follow my own suggestion here, is when you feel one coming on, maybe replace it with a short pause and see how that goes. That's my job for this evening. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
That's great. Thank you very much, James. Some great advice there as well. And the next role filler this evening will be our general evaluator. And tonight, our general evaluator is Helen. When I asked Helen what the greatest gift that she had received was, she had quite a few. And one of them was from her Aunt Mamie, that we've heard lots about through her speeches. When she was 8 years old, she brought a big box on her bicycle with a Delft doll. So, Helen, can I hand over to you to explain your role as general evaluator?
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. My role as general evaluator will be watching each one of you perform your roles tonight, and then I will be talking specifically to the two evaluators, which is Samash evaluating Louise, and Deirdre evaluating Anna. And all of you, I am sure, will be quite competent in your roles.
Thank
Siobhan.
you very much. And
Sorry, Siobhan, I just remembered that I forgot the word of the day. Could I just jump in for a moment? Sorry about that.
sure.
I had it prepared, but it was hidden on the screen here. So the word of the day that I've chosen is reticent, R-E-T-I-C-E-N-T. It means, and it's something that none of us in Toastmasters would ever be, because it means to be inclined to be silent or uncommunicative in speech, but it is a word that we may want to use. It may also mean restrained in expression, presentation, or appearance. And an example of reticent in a sentence is, he was initially reticent, unsure of the motives for my questions. So reticent, and I'll put that on the chat.
Great. Thank you very much. Fantastic. And our final role holder for the moment is, just before I hand over to the topics, is Antoinette, who will be our topics master. And Antoinette told me that she really treasures gifts that she gets from family. And she's got many lovely gifts over the years. And she finds the unexpected gifts best of all. And one example is a gift she got from a neighbor for helping her out with a job. So Antoinette, we might pass over to you to explain your role, and then you can lead straight into the topics, please.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And just before I start, can I just agree a time that we'll work towards? It's just 8:30 now, so what would work best?
Only 25 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
we'll go with
Might be
25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Now, my role this evening will be to introduce table topics, which will be giving you all something to speak about that you don't know about in advance. And its idea is that we get to think on our feet and have very little time to prepare. So we'll be getting 2 minutes for the initial topic, and then I'll be watching out if there are any add-ons where there'll be a 1 minute for that. So I'm going to start, and I'm hoping that there will be no reticent people or people will find it hard to say something. I hope these topics are of interest and that we'll be getting some lively conversation. So I'm going to start, and this week, I'm a Celebrity was on in our house. Well, it was on for the last 3 weeks because I had some very big fans in our house. And if you were watching it, you would have heard of the celebrities talking about their happy place. And this is what they were doing if they had an unpleasant task or something that they wanted to get through. They were closing their eyes and going to their happy place. So, James, could I ask you, if you were to close your eyes and think about your happy place, where would it be?
I think you can see it behind me, actually. It would be hiking in the Alps in Austria. Just on I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. So this is the first year since it started that my wife and I and my family did not watch it. We've been fans of that highbrow entertainment for many years, and I've watched how people have struggled with the environment and lack of food and the tasks and challenges they've been given in the jungle in Australia. And maybe everybody knows about it, maybe some people don't know about it, but that's what it's about. And the challenges are particularly ugly, nasty, and unpleasant. So for first year, because of COVID, they weren't able to travel to Australia. It's a very big mission, or not mission, it's a very big outlay for ITV, I think, to run it, and this must spend tens of millions to put it on. So this year, because of COVID, they couldn't go there, so they put it on in a castle in Scotland. I watched the first day or two, and it didn't do it for me. So I said, no, I've had enough, and I have no idea who won it or how it went. But definitely, having seen the challenges they've had to go through, right? They have to eat parts of anatomies of animals that I don't want to mention. And they have to lie in kind of fake graves, let's say, with snakes crawling over them, spiders, all kinds of creepy crawlies and stuff like that. So pretty much all the stuff that would scare the bejeepers out of me, they have to do and put up with it for 5 minutes or even longer. So I can totally understand why they might want to have some happy places to go to, because I don't see how anybody could go through some of those ordeals without having somewhere happy to go to. I guess if they can control their thoughts, control their emotions, maybe meditation might be a good idea to get you through some of these horrible challenges.
Ding, ding.
Being able to get control over your own thoughts and your fears and your emotions, I think, would be a good way to do it. But a happy place would be one good way to do it, or else just blank your mind and just think of your country. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Now, Samesh, if you could have any job in the world for one day, what would it be?
Thank you very much, Topics Master. One job for a whole day.
Yeah, any job.
Whatever I would like to do. It's an interesting question. I would actually say it should be something that inspires and motivates people, not making them reticent. Something that will have a lot of interaction between people. So it would be like something like Tony Robbins, I would say. How many of you have heard about Tony Robbins? Yeah, so probably someone like him. I think I would like to be, in terms of, first of all, being motivated myself. I think that's very important. If I am not motivated, I cannot motivate others. There's no question that I can motivate anyone else. So yes, so I would like to be motivated myself that full day and spread that motivation everywhere. Have a huge football pitch with millions of people, and everyone is motivated to reach their goals. I think this is what I would like to do. I would have that football pitch with millions of people, and each and every person in that football pitch would be so much motivated towards reaching their goals that they would work towards it. They would be
Ding-a-ling.
They would be going towards their whole atom, their whole cell would be working towards that goal, and they would feel so happy and so enthusiastic that they will never forget that one day of their life. So thank you very much, Topics Master.
Thank you, Samesh. Deirdre, if you could interview a celebrity and ask them one question, who would you interview and what would you ask them?
Madam Topics Master, funnily enough, I get asked a lot who was the most famous person I've ever interviewed, and I don't look at people in terms of fame. So I don't really have a special question I want to ask anybody. I rated a particular author a couple of books in a row. I bought them and I rated them all 5 stars. And I was invited to submit a question by whoever was their publisher to them directly because I liked the books. And I didn't have a question to ask as such. So mine is entirely based on the moment, who's in front of me, why they're in front of me, and whatever they say questions arise out of that, and I might think of something as a result of that. Apart from that, I mean, I would imagine I'm not very big in celebrities. I probably have to ask them, who are you? What are you famous for? Why are you here in front of me? But one of the questions I do ask, I ask people regularly would be, if I'm interviewing them about their business, something that would inspire or motivate anybody listening to be creative, to open up their own business, to do something different in their life. That's probably one of the questions I most consistently ask. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Deirdre. Thank you. Louise, what kind of Christmas shopper are you? Black Friday, Christmas Eve, or all year long are you getting ready?
I have to say I'm not a fan of Christmas shopping, and I'm usually kind of the last 2 weeks before Christmas. This year, however, I suppose because the shops were closed, and I've found myself getting a lot of stuff, buying my presents online, not from any, not from Amazon or anything like that. Try to shop local, but sometimes I do prefer to go into maybe the more local shops, kind of the craft shops. I don't know if you know Bastion Gallery. I think that's a really lovely place to go for that special gift. And very often I end up buying vouchers for people. Can be a cop out, but I find it easier, especially for my son is 21 now, so it's either that or money is the best present I think that he would like. But yeah, I found myself in the shopping centre last week. I was actually returning something I bought online, but the minute I walked in, I was like, and it wasn't busy, but I was like, oh, I don't think I could deal with having to try and rummage through, find gifts. So I think I nearly converted to online shopping.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you. Helen, if you could be in charge of planning for your local village or town, what would you change?
Madam Topics Master, what would I change in Athlone? I would desperately change the one-way system. I think it was the daftest thing they ever come up with. The fact that I cannot drive uptown and I have to drive miles around the town when I want anything is very enervating for me personally, who lived in town all my life. So I do not like that one-way system in Church Street. There was never, ever, ever an accident while there was lorries and vans and the devil knows what going up through the bottleneck. That would be the space there beside the travel agent, the Heinz's and the pub. And never ever did I know of an accident there. And yet we're all asked to drive around the town on a constant basis. It seems the Roscommon people cannot go uptown. They have to go 3 or 4 miles around the town. And one day there was a flood down at the bridge under the Auburn Driveway. There was a flood at the roads down at the Crescent, and there was a flood. So there was absolutely no way you could manage the town. And I personally, to get home to my house, had to drive out onto the dual carriageway and drive all the way around the town 5 kilometers to get back home. So I really found it. So if there was anything I would change in Athlone, is the crazy system they set up. I think there was far better ways of organizing the town and the traffic than the way they have done. So that's the first thing I would do. Definitely, definitely, definitely. At the moment, they're knocking and building and knocking and building, and it seems they put in at the Genoa. They're now going to put in a monument called the Shannon. Never in my whole life, for as long as I've lived here, over 60 years, have I ever seen a Mr. Shannon. All right, there was a chemist there beside Burgess called Shannon's. And I knew him and her, Mrs. Shannon. But never did I know the river having a face. So now they're putting up a face called the Shannon that none of us ever recognized for whole life. So I would not do that. They put John Broderick down by the library when in fact he should be in the middle of the town. They've put very important people down silly alleyways where they should be in the middle of the town. So I don't know who is doing the planning in town. I'd like to talk to them. This is Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Anna, if you could completely get rid of 1 month out of the calendar, which month would it be and why?
Madam Toastmaster, right, that is a difficult one. If you ask me about a day in the week, I'd definitely say Monday. But if you're asking about the month, I suppose it would have to be February. Why? My husband would probably hate me for saying that because his birthday is actually in February, which is only now occurring to me. But I think that February is a month where the winter is almost over, at least for me coming from Poland. The winter was almost over, and then heading into March, all the birthdays in my family are in March. So it's a little bit like a crazy torment month, you could call it, because there is so much celebrating, so much money to be spent on presents, and you just never know when to do what, I suppose. So February is that month that's kind of in between for me, and I think that would be the one that I'd be getting rid of. But in saying that, if it was a good February, I'd probably swap it and maybe get rid of May. Because again, it's an in-between month. You see, in Poland, seasons are a bit different, which is where it's all coming from for me. Our seasons are a month later than the seasons in Ireland. So May is still May, nothing really. Whereas June is when the summer comes and it starts and it's beautiful and sunny and warm. So yes, February, definitely February. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, Helen, would you like to follow on?
Madam Toastmaster, if I was to do anything and I would leave this country for January, February and March, come back in April when things start getting to blossom and where the days get longer and the weather becomes mild and bearable. I hate the cold. So if there was 3 months of the calendar, which I could go, well, it's cold up here, it's warm in the south, so I'd go south. I'd be like a bird and off I'd go with the starlings and come back with them. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Helen. Francis, we've all got very dependent on our mobile phones in recent times. Would you rather spend a day without your phone or a day without any interaction with people?
I'd rather spend a day without my phone. Indeed, there's times I would also rather to spend days without any interaction with people. I use the phone an awful lot in relation to Facebook and various other things. And I would sooner not have it. I long to go back to the basic phone. I have taught a lot, and it keeps coming back at times, going back to the Amish. And there's an Amish community in Dunmore East. And that's a great way of getting rid of a phone, because you are leaving behind all the modern things, television, phones, and you're interacting with people who are basically their lives are 100 years ago. But there's a greater stillness, a greater warmth, greater family orientation. And the modern things are pushed aside. But in relation to the phone, I wish I never got it, because as long as I have it, I can't put it down out of my hands. So I would love to give it away. I really, really would love to give it away. And again, in relation to people, when I was ill, I didn't want anyone around me. Now that I'm well, I'm happy to have people around me, but I still like to have my own space. I still like to be alone. And I want people sometimes to leave me alone. But I can't put that mobile phone out of my hand. Miss Toastmaster.
Thank you. Siobhan, if there was a moment in your life that you could do over, what would it be?
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. What a lovely topic. Well, I find myself in the very fortunate position to find it very hard to choose. I've had so many moments in my life so far that I would love to do over. Coming to mind, first and foremost, is I think the moments of the births of all of my 4 children, very memorable times. Another moment apart from that would be, I suppose, various different ones. There's one moment that's coming to my mind for a very strange reason. And I have thought of this before. In my 20s, I lived in Japan. And I do recall having a moment when I was walking down the street with, as it happened on that occasion, no bags, no money in my pocket. I was just going for a walk. And I had this overwhelming feeling, sensation of being happy, content, really in the moment. And at that time, I didn't know anything about mindfulness or any of that, but it was a very profound experience. And now it's been over 20 years since I was there. And I've often thought that in many ways was, I suppose, my very first encounter with mindfulness, with being in the moment, and with what I think true happiness means. At that moment, I had a sense that of complete freedom, of not needing much in the world, of not belonging to anybody or nobody belonging to me. And in many ways, it was priceless. So there have been so many moments in my life that
Ding, 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 ding.
I've thoroughly enjoyed. But for some reason, that moment was profound and taught me some very meaningful lessons. Thank you.
Thank you. When I buy a phone or some technical device, it's not always the price that would determine which one I'd choose or which model I would go for. Joe, could you give me an example of an item that you don't mind spending some extra money on?
Sorry, I was busy putting the clock on there and forgot to unmute myself. Oh gosh, what would I spend money on? I do a lot of research whenever I'm buying tech, and I come from an engineering background, so I like to know my product before I buy it. And I can be quite pedantic about choice, and something that would take somebody maybe 2 minutes based on color and price might take me several weeks, because I like to look into the minutiae of how the device works. But I suppose in desperate times, let's see, we had a washing machine that kicked the bucket there last year, and I just decided, sod it, I'm going into the shop. Whatever it is, I don't mind what it is as long as it's a Zanussi, because I know they're a reliable brand. And I think when you know something is going to stand the test of time, you don't mind spending the extra bit of cash on it. So I was prepared to hand out a few more spondoolies than usual, but I knew I was going to get something that I was going to get maybe 15 to 20 years out of it. And the same thing, I spent a little bit of time doing research on fridges, because our fridge kicked the bucket about 3 years ago, and I'm happy now that I got a fridge for the next 20 years, and my children can buy the next one for us as a birthday present or something like that. But yeah, I think when it comes to appliances, I like to apply the time and be reticent about my choice. And I got the word of the day in for the first time in God, I don't know how long. Go me. And sorry, my time was just up as well from all that messing around. But the thing is that, if it's worth spending the cash if you're going to get the time out of it. If it's a piece of old junk, nah, it's no good, but it's cheap. Yeah, if I want good time out of it, spend the time researching it and spend the money. Happy days. Thank you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Joe. I think that's it. We're right on time, Siobhan, and I think everyone has had their topic. So I'll hand back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Really well done. Very, very interesting topics there. And so lovely to hear applause again. We're not used to hearing it on Zoom. So it was a bit of a shock and a surprise. Samesh, first, it took me by surprise, but lovely to hear it. Antoinette, as you know, we have a tradition here in Athlone Toastmasters of returning one of the topics to yourself. So Antoinette, I would like to ask you, if there was a moment that you had to live over again, what would it be?
Very good. Well, yeah, there'd be many, many moments, but one moment that comes to my mind is when we traveled to a family wedding in India, and my aunt, my cousins, my sisters, and all their partners, and all of us went together. And I can still see us all, and we were in Dublin Airport and looking around, and we were near the whole queue as ourselves. And we had such an amazing trip. And like what you had said earlier, Siobhan, it's only maybe afterwards, because I remember being over there and we were on a tour and we were going to visit, it was the Taj Mahal actually, and we were all together in our own little bus. And I remember thinking, this is just something else. I loved being all of us together, and it never has happened since, and probably will never happen again, that so many of us would go together, being more than with, say, my immediate family, like my sisters, but having all of the cousins. We were very close family, because my mother and her sister and my father and his brother, it was a double wedding. So we were like double first cousins. We were always very close to this family, because my aunt and my uncle, basically, my father's brother and my mother's sister. So we were so close, and one of them got married to a girl from India. So when this happened, we all had to go to the wedding, and we all went and packed all up. And I remember being out there and just looking around at them all, and because my aunt was not going to go, and then she came, because she came with us, and which was super for her to see her son getting married, and looking around and thinking, this is what life is about, family and all of us together on an amazing trip. And that was my moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antoinette, and well done again on a fabulous topic session. I noted that many of us were, including myself, were reticent to come forward with follow-ons, but not to worry, not to worry. You did very well, Antoinette, in getting us all to talk. I think everybody had an opportunity to talk. So well done again. I'm just looking at my clock here, and I think it's almost 9. So is it okay if we take a break for 10 minutes? And that will, is 10 minutes okay? And then that'll help us finish up that little bit earlier. So if anybody wants to stay around and chat, there may be somebody here in the room, but otherwise go and have yourself a cup of tea, coffee. We're looking forward to 2 speeches in the afternoon, I was going to say, after the break. And so there'll be 2 great speeches. Go and have your break, and we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you. thank you very much, Samesh, for that break time music. I don't know if I can use it like this, but I did feel like dancing. But when I went to the kitchen and my teenage children saw me, I was reticent
We're all
to
gone.
step it out. So you're all very welcome back. And the second part of our meeting is the prepared speeches section. Tonight, like I said, we have 2 speeches. One is an icebreaker and one is a second speech. Our first speaker will be Louise, and evaluating Louise's speech is Samesh. So when I asked Samesh what his greatest gift was, Samesh said that it was the life that he had been given by his parents. So it was really interesting to hear everybody's take on the greatest gift. Thank you very much, Samesh. And Samesh, will you outline the objectives of Louise's speech, please?
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. So Louise is going to do her icebreaker speech today. This is a foundational project that is designed to introduce the new member to the club. The purpose of icebreaker is for the member to introduce themselves to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. The overview for this project is write and deliver a speech about any topic to introduce yourself to the club. Your speech may be humorous, informational, or any other style that appeals to you. And it is a 4 to 6 minute speech. All the very best, Louise. Thank you very much. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Samesh. And so as Samesh said, so this is Louise's icebreaker. And the speech is, just before I say what the speech is titled, can I just remind everybody as well, please put yourselves on mute so that there are, to limit the interferences for the speaker while the speaker's speaking. Thank you. Can everybody please put themselves on mute? Helen, can you put yourself on mute, please?
Okay.
I think that's everybody. Lovely. So Louise's speech tonight is entitled, It's a Bog Life. It's a Bog Life. Over to you, Louise.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I'm going to stand back. Tried this today at work, so can people hear me from here? Thank you. Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This evening, my speech is about It's a Bog Life. I'm going to talk you through, I suppose, my experience of the bogs, but how my view of the bog as well has changed over the years. The bog, to me, a lot of the time, it's very much hard work. It's I suppose it resonated with the poem of Digging by Seamus Heaney that I learned in school, that, you know, his grandfather would be slicing and nicking and slicing and throwing the sod over his shoulder and going deeper and deeper to get the good turf, digging. So, like, I grew up, I'm from Athlone, and I grew up just outside Athlone town, about 5 or 6 miles, but it's very much the countryside. And like most houses did, and it still do, we burnt turf at home. So this meant every summer, for a number of few days or even a few weeks, we'd be in the bog. So you'd be waiting, you'd get your summer holidays, you'd be waiting for the glorious sunshine to come along, and you'd be planning your days when the dew come along to be out with your friends, having water fights, having you know, maybe a paddling pool and enjoying the glorious day sunshine. But that would be put to an end when your parents would come along and you'd hear those dreaded words, get your boots on, we're going to the bog. So my siblings and I would be packed into the car, ham sandwiches, flasks of tea, and maybe a packet of biscuits would come and tow with us. And if the neighbours had been in our house at the time and weren't lucky enough to escape, they'd be dragged along too. But now, no fear, the favour would be reciprocated in the following week or so. So we'd arrive at the bog and the turf would be all laid out ready for turning and stacking. And we'd work away in silence for what felt like forever, but was probably only 15 or 20 minutes before the moaning and giving out would start of pains in our legs, pains in our backs. I'm hungry. And, you know, is it lunchtime yet? Is it time to go home yet? And eventually, anyway, we'd have our lunch and we'd sit there resonant, eating our lunch away and not wanting to talk to anyone. So we'd get back to work and work away until it was time to go home. But as many of you may know, that's not the end when it comes to turf. There's the whole work involved in bringing it home, bringing it into the shed, throwing it in, which often ended in a row. And I think even you'd start a row just to get out of having to do it. And then if you were very pedantic, you'd have a nice stacked, the malls neatly stacked that you were actually afraid to touch them because you would destroy the display that was made. So then you get a few weeks reprieve maybe before the cold evening set in and you're back lighting fires, and then the work starts over again. So it's bringing in the turf, having to bring it from the shed and go out in the cold to bring it in, and then bring it to the, you know, trying to keep the fire going. So you're sitting, and the heat is lovely, don't get me wrong, I love the heat, but there's no comfort with it because you're constantly having to put it on. And then I suppose my view of the bog changed maybe, so 4.5 years ago when I started in my current role. And one Thursday afternoon, my boss came into me and said those dreaded words again to me, bring your boots with you tomorrow, we're going to the bog. However, the experience was very different. We were meeting with a group of community, a network of community groups who are involved in restoring and conservation of local peatlands and local bogs. And what amazed me most was the passion they had for their local bog, and you know how they spoke so highly of it and valued it so much. And the work that they had done in their local communities on making it a place where people can go and enjoy the different species, and where the local schools can be educated on the bog. So I suppose when I hear we're going to the bog now, it's not the same experience I have. I enjoy going for the walk, just having, you know, being the peace and tranquility of the bog and being with your own thoughts, be resonant and just escaping the madness that is often the rat race of life. Thank you, Topic Toastmaster. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Louise, and well done on delivering a fantastic icebreaker. Timer, can I get the time for Louise's speech, please?
Certainly. Perfect 5 minutes and 55 seconds.
Fantastic. So well done, Louise. Really well done. And I'm just going to ask everybody now to take 1 minute to write your evaluation for Louise directly to Louise in the chat function, please. Okay, thank you all. So we're going to move on to our second speaker. And our second speaker tonight is Anna. And Anna's evaluator is Deirdre. And when I asked Deirdre what gift she remembered, a special gift, Deirdre said it was a non-sexist, not blue or pink, but a white bath set that she got from her father on the birth of her daughter. So we see how special and precious a lot of these gifts are. Deirdre, can you please outline the objectives of Anna's speech tonight?
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. I think there's a bit of feedback here, is there? Anna's speech tonight is called Island Hopping. It's from the Effective Coaching. Anna's at level 1, and this is the first speech in the evaluation and feedback. She completed her icebreaker just about a month ago. So the purpose of her speech tonight is for Anna to present us the speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. So as I said, this is the first speech. It's 5 to 7 minutes, and I don't expect that Anna will be in the least bit reticent in sharing her experiences during this. The very best of luck tonight, Anna.
Thank you very much, Deirdre. So unfortunately, I didn't have the privilege of hearing Anna's icebreaker, but I'm really looking forward to hearing her speak tonight. So Anna's speech is entitled Island Hopping. So with speech entitled Island Hopping, please put your hands together for Anna.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Legend has it that there are 365 islands in Clew Bay, County Mayo, one for every day of the year. We decided to check it out for ourselves. The bay is overlooked by Croagh Patrick on one side and the Nesson Range on the other. It is also part of the Wild Atlantic Way, a very popular Irish tourism trail. Escaping the hustle and bustle of everyday life and exploring the remote islands in Clew Bay was our idea of a perfect Maybank holiday weekend. On the first day of our adventure, we left our worries behind and jumped into the boat in Westport Harbour. We paddled north to the right of Cullenmore Island. The tide was in, so we weren't concerned with running aground on the shallow parts of the bay. The day was cloudy and dry with moderate winds, so we took our time and admired the landscape around us. Once we got past Cullenmore, we could see Clinish Island and a bit smaller Moneybeg Island, and we decided to take the route between them to head into the deep of the bay. Next, we set our sights on Inishcottle and Inishnakilev, which are directly connected to the main line by a bridge. Having just passed Inishcottle, we came across something that could only be described as the creature of the sea. At first, we weren't sure what it was. Watson, our dog, he started sniffing and moving around the boat as if something was about to happen. We pulled our paddles into the boat, and we waited. Suddenly, a head popped up. It was a curious seal looking to investigate those who were disturbed at peace. It dove back into the water nearly as fast as it popped up. Clearly, it was quite reticent. We waited, hoping that it would come out again, but instead we saw it swimming away in the distance. So we continued on towards Inishlochel. We passed many smaller islands on the way, only to finally settle on Inishkey for dinner. Since the bay is tide dependent, when it was time to get going again, we quickly packed up and hopped back into the boat. We decided to camp on an island across from Inishkey, Muckinish, which wasn't far away. Prior to the start of our trip, we did a lot of research on Clew Bay. We knew how dangerous it could be to cross the open sea, and we didn't want any surprises. We made a list of tidal times, and it became one of our most prized possessions. Because of that, we knew that on our second day, we had to be up early in the morning to catch the tide. We set off from Muckinish, paddled past Inishkey, and headed west towards Calf Island, our destination for the day. It was dreamy. Light breeze, warm sunshine, and perfectly blue skies gave us the strength to paddle on. But then the wind changed. From a lovely breeze, it turned into a gale. Suddenly, all our muscles were aching and every stroke became harder, but we pushed on. We realized that it could be too dangerous to cross the open sea. Inishu was the last line of defense from the ocean's magnificent power. Passing Ilan Mao on our right and Inishgowla on our left, we made for Inishbee instead. There were crabs and sheep on its sandy beach, and it was simply spectacular. However, since Watson was with us, we didn't want to cause the sheep any distress and decided to cross the bay towards another island, Derrinish, to have an early dinner. When the tide is out, the beach connects the two islands with a natural rocky bridge. It is quite picturesque. When the time came to move on, we headed towards Calf Island. However, it didn't strike us as the best camping spot for the night, with the howling winds and the high cliffs. We decided to try our luck with Inishgowla instead. Oh, what an island it was! A heart-shaped lake in the middle, lovely beach, green fields everywhere around us. But why was it dotted with white fairy spots? Of course, there had to be sheep in this paradise. Keeping Watson close, we took a short break, admiring this breathtaking landscape before jumping back into the boat. The paddling was getting challenging, so we decided to take our chances with Calf Island after all. We finally found a spot, nestled on a low cliff over a beautiful sandy beach. It actually had grassy steps leading up to it. How lucky were we? On our last day, we had to start early in order to catch the tide and come into the harbour at the right time. The wind was fairly quiet in the morning, but by the time it was time to get going, it picked up. Nevertheless, everything around us was as beautiful as if someone had painted it. Leaving Derrinish and Calf Island behind, we paddled east towards the harbour. Then we realized that the strength of the wind had affected our speed, and we were actually late for the tide. It was already going out. We had to maneuver around the shallows, and we got stuck in the sand a couple of times. Fortunately, there was a few fishing boats around, so we followed their trail without getting caught in the shallows again. The clouds started rolling in and the rain was imminent. We could feel it in our bones. After what seemed like an eternity, we finally made it to the port, welcomed by a few sailors readying their boats for the summer season. It was hard, but we had time of our lives, even if we were cursing the weather under our breath. The best way to relax is to do what you love most, and for us, is being in the outdoors. During our time in Clew Bay, everything seemed to work in our favor, despite the surprises. Most of the time, we could even see Crow Patrick in the distance. Blue skies, clear waters, strong winds, it all made for an incredible adventure of exploring this natural ocean bay. We spent 3 beautiful days immersed in the best that the Wild Atlantic Way has to offer, and we cannot wait to return to Clew Bay for more. After all, we never got a chance to count all those 365 islands. Madam Toastmaster.
Super speech, Anna. Well done. Very, very impressive. Joseph, can you give me the time for Anna's speech, please?
Exactly 7 minutes.
And I forgot to mention that what gifts our speakers tonight remember most. And not surprisingly, Anna said that one of the best gifts she ever got was a canoe that she and her husband bought for each other some years ago. And that's very in keeping with your very interesting speech, Anna. Thank you. And Louise had told me that a special gift for her will be sitting down to Christmas dinner this year with her family and the chance to see her friends over the Christmas season, because as we all remember or think about it, not everybody will have that chance this year. So we'll take 1 minute again, please, to write your evaluations directly to Anna, please. That's great. So we're going to move on, and we'll move on to our evaluations. So I'm going to ask Samesh, Louise's evaluator, to start and give us his evaluation for Louise's speech, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Congratulations, Louise, on an excellent icebreaker. We have heard many icebreakers before, and this is on par with one of the top icebreakers. So congratulations on this great achievement. What I would say in terms of what I liked a lot about your speech is how you have used even an online platform like Zoom in terms of conveying all your body language. You got up and you could see, at least 70% of yourself in the whole camera, which is really great. Like it's great to see a lot of our own self when people are looking on the screen. And your body gestures were very good, excellent. Your hands were actually conveying the message that you wanted to say. So that was really good. And the transitions between your content was also excellently done. How you started off in terms of your childhood, where you did not like much going to the bogs along with your siblings. And you have conveyed the minute details as well, in terms of you actually brought us with you on the journey. You know, when you're going in the car, you're taking the biscuits, you're giving those details. You talked about a glorious sunshine. So, and I think you actually used reticent as well. I heard you using that. So using the word of the day. So you were absolutely not reticent in terms of what you wanted to communicate. You are very, very well communicating whatever you wanted to communicate. You're doing the presentation mastery path in the pathways. And this was the icebreaker. The purpose of this project was for you to introduce yourself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. And you have nailed it to, I would say, I wouldn't say 100% at the moment, because we all can, you know, even a person, if they are the best public speaker in the world, they probably would have something that they could still work on. So I would say you are 99% there in terms of your communication and what you wanted to convey us, and the contradiction that you brought in the end, in terms of first in the childhood not liking the bog, and in the end saying that you actually enjoyed being there. The contradiction, the whole journey that you brought along all of us with you was excellent. So I wouldn't, the only small thing that I would say is you can probably try and pause if you can, whenever you are able to. But this is just a very small recommendation. We don't give recommendation during icebreaker, but it was just a small thing that I wanted to say. So excellent speech once again, Louise, and we look forward to your next speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Samesh, on that very thorough evaluation and a very encouraging evaluation also. And next, our next evaluator is Deirdre, who is going to evaluate Anna's speech. So over to you, Deirdre.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Very well done, Anna. I'm delighted to have the privilege of listening to your second speech in Toastmasters. What I found is that your speech was evocative of days outdoors. It covered everything from the water, the weather, the seals, your own dog Watson, your aching muscles, catching the tide, wind. You really lived the speech. I have to say you excelled in the area of your gestures. Sheer enjoyment coming out of you, the various gestures as you went up and down, and whatever activity you were doing, they were reflected in your body movements. You also have great vocal variety, very good eye contact, and you're quite comfortable being up there, quite comfortable with the audience, and you're fairly comfortable in front of people in any event. I thought that you did a great ad for the Wild Atlantic Way, great ad for outdoor living. You managed to get in the word of the day at least once. And I loved the humor that was, how would you call it, wriggling, to use your sea creature words, wriggling throughout it, particularly the white hairy spots. And it's clear that you absolutely adore sheep. I did feel as though you traveled all 365 islands there within the speech. It certainly felt like it. I suppose what I would still think that it's a good thing to work on is slowing down even a bit more. Now, in a speech, I don't think you need to keep the same pace all the time. Obviously, when you're coming to exciting things, you have shorter sentences and you speak that little bit faster. But I think overall, it would benefit just from slowing down that little bit more. I also think maybe, I think once that you looked behind yourself like that, and you can see there when you do that, you lose contact, that little bit of contact with the audience, but that's only a very minor thing, because the rest of the time you had us engaged as you danced and floated your way from island to island. So overall, Anna, I really enjoyed the speech. It made me want to go outdoors. It made me want to barely catch the tide. It made me want to get stuck in the sandbanks. It made me want to wave to the sailors as I finally arrived at my destination, and have a dog called Holmes, or Watson, as your dog is. So very well done, Anna. I'm really looking forward to hearing your next speech.
Many thanks, Deirdre. Another very thorough evaluation. Thank you very much. So our next role holder tonight was the grammarian. So can I please invite James to give us his account of how well we did with the word of the night, and also with some of our crutch words and lovely phrases, hopefully.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Yeah, before I get onto the word of the day, I'll get the crutch words out of the way. I actually have very few count. I think we were excellent this evening on our ams, as, so's, and you knows, which are the most common. I think am is the most common, but the count was quite low. So well done to everybody on getting rid of those crutch words and using some pauses. I rarely lose count. I think we rarely lose count of the number of times that a word of the day has been used, and it was a bit of a struggle for me to keep up with people this evening. So I've somewhere over 10 in total, and some people use it more than once. I don't want to be reticent about giving my report this evening, and the only reason I say that is that I want to be not one of the ones that didn't get to use it this evening. It's the only reason I'm bringing in that sentence. So there you go. So well done to everyone, almost 100%, I think there. Some good words and phrases. Enervating, thanks Helen for enervating. I have to look that up, and it's a good one. I haven't heard spondulics in a long time, Joe. Thanks for that one. It brought back an interesting phrase from back in the past. Yeah, Louise, just getting your boots on and saying you're going to the bog is just one that resonates for me a lot. I'm not from the bog, but I've married into the bog here in Ballinahone. And it's a phrase I do hear from my wife in May. And I do have to pass it on to my teenage children in June to try and get them to help us. So get your boots on, you're going to the bog. There are a lot of really good phrases picked up by Deirdre from the Anna speech as well. And one that I liked was just the fact that rain was imminent. We could feel it in our bones. So I really like that. So excellent language and excellent use of the word of the day. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, James. That very concise report, and really well done to everybody. I think this is the most times I've heard the word of the night being used for quite a while. Next, we're going to move on to our general evaluator. So Helen, can you inform us how the whole meeting went tonight, please? And Helen, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself, please?
I'm okay now.
Yeah.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I have to say it was an extraordinary meeting. I think that we rise by lifting others was more than evident throughout the whole meeting. I loved the idea of the clap coming in, and I'm not too sure who was responsible. I think it was Smash. Can we give him a clap? You're welcome to that, Smash. Then we moved on to our there was absolutely no reticence within any member of our meeting this evening. The skill was right through the whole meeting. There was great transitions from our Toastmaster. Our Toastmaster, I think, in essence, as a general evaluator, I could take great lessons from you, Madam Toastmaster, and well done to all you've done. I thought it was a tremendous, easy flow for the meeting. There was no stoppages. There was nothing that anybody could complain about at all in the night. Our topics master took off very quickly. Well done, Antoinette. I think one of the things that always amazes me in Toastmasters is how every single member of every single topics ever can come up with new topics. And they were certainly interesting. They were certainly easy. But yet, a few of us were quite reticent initially. But then as Toastmasters, we took off and we all did our piece. So I think the Topics Master was inventive. And I liked that very much from you, Antoinette, and well done to you. True to Siobhan, she noticed how reticent each one was when they received it, and I liked that from our Topics Master herself. There was a lovely charisma with you, Siobhan, and I have to say, that's your essence. You have this thing, Toastmaster Siobhan, of just essence. And I think it will carry you through to the next phase. We had our topics were superb. Well done to you. Then we had the introductions of each person was wonderful, Siobhan. Well done to you doing that. Then we had our grammarian. Our grammarian came in with the word, and the word was brilliant for the night. I have to say, I loved it, and I think everybody did, and I'd say everybody tried to use it too. So well done, James, on your part. Our timer did very well with his yellow cards, blue, green cards, and red cards. Well done. I have to say that in essence, then, all I have to do is talk about our evaluators. And our first evaluator was Samash evaluating Louise. And I have to say, Samash, it's so evident that both our evaluators were very competent altogether, and you know they were proficient Toastmasters, and there wasn't an ounce of reticence in them, not an ounce. So both of them gave extremely good, strong evaluations. And what I loved in both evaluations intensely was their language, the language they used to convey the message to the speakers, both Smash and Deirdre. I love some of your language, especially Smash. You went on giving her so many positives. You gave her a 99% evaluation, and I said, wow, that's going very high. She has only 1% to get. So that leaves somebody feeling very, very good afterwards. And your recommendation was really, really very positive, and the whole thing was very encouraging altogether. Deirdre, you give us some wonderful language, Deirdre. It was your privilege to evaluate the speech. The speech was evocatively outdoors. It was excellent in gestures. Vocal variety you added. That I loved the idea then that you said you could see her wriggling throughout. I liked that one very much. Then you asked her to slow down, which is very evident with a lot of people, and a lot of us can learn from that. I liked the idea of you talked about floating away from island to island, and you could do it too, and you felt it in your bones. I loved all your language in that. Very, very little of any evidence of reticence from you, Deirdre. You definitely have got what it takes to. So well done to both our evaluators. I think they were excellent. I have to say, Joe, I liked your bit of a ding ding. The timer, he's giving me a red card, and so as a meeting, I have to say, brilliant. Well done to all.
Thank you very much, Helen, for that very, very thorough and positive general evaluation. And if our grammarian was still counting, I'd say he'd be delighted with all of the reticence that you came forward with there. So really well done. Just before we finish up and before I hand back to Samesh, our acting president tonight, who stepped into the role so quickly, which shows some of what we learn in Toastmasters, how to be flexible and how to be adaptable. I'm going to just remind you of a few things that are coming up. So on Friday night coming, we have the Area 9 Christmas party online on Zoom, and everybody in Area 9 is welcome. So Area 9 spans 5 clubs, and Athlone is one of those clubs. The details of the party will be in the WhatsApp group. I think they've already been added, but it definitely proves to be a lot of fun, a bit of a laugh, and it's a great way of getting to know other Toastmasters from across the area. And as far as I know, we are planning to have a second meeting in December, which will be on December 22nd. So watch out for details of that over the next week or so. And just finally, I'd like to thank Samesh once more for stepping so quickly into the role of president, and also for really adding to the positivity and the fun ambience of the meeting with his acoustics or his sound, whatever it was there. But it just gave everything a lovely lift, I think. I think we've been starved of applause for so long. So it was so good to hear it. Now I started tonight and I said my theme was that of a gift. And I think we were all treated to an amazing gift tonight with the 2 speeches, especially with the 2 speeches that we heard. One thing that I've always loved about Toastmasters is the privilege of getting to hear people talk about topics that you might not hear somewhere else. Like you might not hear it in your workplace, you might not hear it in your family, but to hear people with different life experiences share their stories, share their ideas, and share new topics. And that's exactly what we heard tonight. So I think that's a huge part of what contributed to it being such a great meeting. And what Anna and Louise brought to the meeting tonight was truly a gift. So with that, I'm going to hand back to our acting president, Samesh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster, for flawlessly running this meeting today. Highly appreciate your help in this regard. And thank you very much to all 9 of us here that we are here, even though we are low in numbers, but the quality of the meeting was the best quality that we can ever give. So it's a great round of applause to everyone. There's one thing that I wanted to do today. I always keep forgetting that we should try and just have, in terms of roles of the next meeting. Let's try and figure out who can do what roles before we close today. Let's try to quickly do that. This is something that most of the Toastmasters Club do, but we sometimes do, sometimes don't do. So let's try and have this as a kind of regular customary part of our meeting. Just before we end, we try and get the roles filled for the next meeting, the roles and the speeches.
Is that Google's doc available on the WhatsApp group, Samesh?
It is available, yes.
All right.
So,
okay.
Yes, I'll share the link again, Joe. So Siobhan has agreed to do the speech for the next meeting on 22nd. So thank you very much, Siobhan, for that. Anyone else wants to volunteer for the speech for the next meeting?
I don't have a speech ready, but I'll take a role.
Okay. What role, Joe?
Anything,
happy?
Samesh, doesn't matter.
No preference, is it? Yes, Anna, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just wondering, could I maybe do topic master?
Absolutely. Yeah, yes, that'll be great. Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much.
I'll try speech.
Helen, thank you. That's great. We'll have 2 top class speakers for the next meeting. That's great.
I can do timer, Sumesh.
Thanks. Thank you very much, James. Cheers for doing. And we have few other roles then.
I can do.
Yes, Louise, yes.
Grammarian, if is that.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, and we have a few more then. Toastmaster, General Evaluator, and the 2 speech evaluators.
I don't know if I'll be available, Samesh, so I don't want to take a role yet.
No problem. Okay. And right, we have everyone here kind of covered here, it looks like, isn't it? Maybe I might,
okay.
Okay, I'll just put myself here, just, we'll see.
Like if I'm available, I could do maybe the general evaluator, but I don't want to hold the role if I won't know maybe for the next week what exactly.
I'll just put question mark.
Okay,
that's
thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't want to stop anyone else wanting to do it.
Okay. And then we need 2 speech evaluators as well after that.
Well, I suppose you better put me down for one. It's not at all daunting evaluating Siobhan or Helen.
Not that hard.
So yeah, stick me in for one there.
That's great. Thanks, Joe. Okay. So then we just need 1 more evaluator and then should be okay. Yeah, I think the challenge now we are facing as a club is in terms of the numbers. We have 14 members at the moment. And for the club to actually become distinguished, it needs 20 members. And I'm sure there are so many members who will join immediately when we start having face-to-face meetings in Prince of Wales or wherever we'll meet. I think probably Francis would be one of the first to come back. He has already mentioned that.
Where's Anthony Joseph?
Sorry?
Where's Anthony Joseph gone?
He's not joining this year, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then
Porrick said he'd be back.
Martina
is a member, so she's one of the 14 members.
Oh.
She's kind of busy during the Christmas period. She said she's busy.
Okay.
So,
but
I think
it's
yes, please, Joel.
Sorry, Samesh. Yeah, no, it's something that all the clubs in the area are experiencing. So we're not unique in that position. I think they're all struggling to meet 20 members this year.
Yes, exactly, and yeah, I've seen that in Division D as well. But there are some clubs who kind of are so excellent in whatever they do that whatever be the conditions, they just come out of it. There are some clubs like that. They are exceptional clubs, and I think we are nearly exceptional. I think we are there. 14 is not a bad number really. If a club has 12 or less than 12, they will need a coach. They will need a club coach so that they get to the good standing in terms of getting to 20. But we have 14, so that's really great.
If each person here takes in 1, then you have doubled your numbers.
Absolutely.
So if each one could find a friend or find somebody, and I think we could have find a friend night. Maybe on the next night.
Bring a friend. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I think
we should try that.
I think it's very hard to get someone to join through Zoom. Like I myself, until I go back to the hotel, I'm not going to join. I did want to, and I do hope to do a speech in the serious speech contest, but there's no way I'm going to do it in Zoom.
Yeah, I find Zoom speaking very hard.
So do I. And you're very restricted. You're very, very restricted.
The only thing I'd say about that is because of the fact that now at work, we all have to use Zoom and MS Teams, and like I had to run a meeting today for a group of people, and I have to say that all the practice I've had with Toastmasters is really standing to me. So I suppose from that point of view, it's a chance to learn an alternative means of communication that we possibly wouldn't have had the opportunity if you know this didn't happen to us. So I still think we have a lot to gain from it, because I find I'm actually using it at work, and it's so helpful to have the meetings and, you know, the conversations we have and everything from the topics. So I have to say I find it invaluable, because it does stand to me in my everyday life, we'll say, aside from our meetings on the Tuesday evenings.
Yeah, I do take
Yeah.
that on board. It's great to get onto a screen, but you can't beat the social, the face to
Oh,
face.
I know. Yeah.
It's not
Absolutely.
possible.
Everything has its pros and cons. I think the pros of Zoom
Yeah.
is in
Oh, they're
terms
two
of
totally different things, and yeah. And I suppose if depending on how long this thing is going to go on, we really don't have a timeline on it. But if we are going to be online for the foreseeable future, we need to, I suppose, increase our online presence for advertising ourselves, and be more present on Facebook, and keeping our website up to date, and Instagram. So maybe we can all chip in there. It's I know it's
I've never
tough
used
for people.
Instagram.
yeah, as a start, if we can keep updating our Facebook page with the meeting
Yes, I think
meeting
putting it on
details, I
Facebook
think.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But who's doing
And
that? Who is there? Somebody doing that?
Well, I don't know if there's anyone at the moment. Siobhan had to step down from the role, but I mean, it's something that anyone with a bit of spare time can do. Except I'm never on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm happy to help out with that. I do for work as well, like I do our social media and general media stuff as well. So you know, it wouldn't be anything extra if I was posting when I'm on Facebook, posting something for work. I can throw on something on
Good girl, thanks.
Facebook.
Yeah.
it's great.
That'd
I
be
think,
great.
yeah, you could actually help Siobhan with that, I guess, in that way. Siobhan is helping with the VPPR. So maybe if Siobhan, you can provide Louise with the access, maybe. I think that might be a good starting point then.
Yeah, I think as far as I know, Louise, would that involve just if we become friends on Facebook and then I make you an admin? Is that the way it would?
Admin, yeah, yeah.
I can try it.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to take over if you want to do it, like I wasn't.
Feel free. No, I'm happy. We can both be admin. I've been trying to make Maeve an admin, but I'm not too sure if I'm doing the right thing. But no, absolutely. The more the merrier. And we can both add whenever we have the time. But thank you very much. Thanks.
Perfect.
That's great. I think the most important thing is we all love these Toastmaster meetings, and we want this to continue, and we want more members to take benefit of these meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best thing I think that we have at the moment. So yeah, with that note, thank you all very much for your association today.
Thank you.
We missed few of our members. Have a good night.
Right, good night, everyone.
See you on 22nd. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Hopefully, we'll see you Friday night at the Area 9.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
It should be good fun. All right.
Okay.
Good night, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Good to see you.
Bye.